Developing at noon, a fight for a casino license backed by the Gaming Commission. Coming up, how the pieces are finally moving into place for Polk County. Plus, the biggest and brightest stars shining on the red carpet. In minutes, we take you into the world of fashion for a look at this year's Met Gala. And not one, but two Arkansas favorites being honored in 1 year. Later in the show, how the state's history is getting recognized nationally. All that and more right now on THB 11 at noon. Well, good afternoon and thanks for tuning in. I'm Jurnee Taylor. We want to head straight over to the weather department where we have meteorologist Nathan Scott. It is a humid day. I'm talking about, I think we're in the 80s, 90s, and you can feel it, Nathan.
You step outside, Jurnee, it feels like we are in Florida right now.
Yes.
And that's not good news because we're setting up the stage for the potential of severe weather. Maybe today, but certainly for your Wednesday, you have to stay weather aware. Look at these temperatures already. We're into the mid 80s in Little Rock. The clouds are breaking up. We're seeing more sun out there, and we are already 6 to as much as 10 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. The winds are really on the breezy side from the south-southwest, about 15 to as high as 25 miles per hour. The good news is the severe weather threat today is a 1 out of 5, but certainly cannot be ruled out. Higher chance in northeast Arkansas, and that's just because we have warm and humid air in place. A little boundary. Cold front's going to try to move in here from the northwest. It's pretty quiet on the radar at this time, but going through the course of the afternoon, well, there could be an isolated strong, possibly severe thunderstorm. And then into this evening, looks like we'll have a line of storms develop right over central Arkansas. And some of the storms could be strong, possibly severe. I'll let you know what they could produce and talk about the higher chance of severe weather on your Wednesday coming up.
Thank you, Nathan. We start with new details this afternoon as police are looking into how a dead body ended up outside of a complex in Jacksonville. Police say someone called them to report an unconscious body outside of Willow Bend Apartments and later confirmed that person died. Right now, no word on who that person was or how they ended up dead, but we'll keep you updated once new information becomes available. The Pulaski County Sheriff's Office is also investigating another person found dead this morning. Deputies were called to Compton Road just before 7:30 a.m. where they found a deceased male. Limited details on this as well. Again, once we learn more on both of these investigations, we'll work to bring you the very latest. Wounds left unhealed for a mother who lost her daughter to gun violence. Months later, the man accused of that shooting death is back in police custody. Rachel Crouch was killed last September. That same month, 24-year-old Donovan Cuthbertson was arrested in connection to her death. But since he wasn't charged right away, he was released and then went on the run. 8 months later, he's back in jail after being found in Pine Bluff.
I'm just aggravated and frustrated. He turned himself in September 26th. They had the rest of September, the whole month of October, and the first week of November. And they didn't do the necessary paperwork to keep him in there.
Well, Couch says she's hoping this case is taken to trial for the sake of her daughter. Polk County is one step closer to reaching the end of the road after years of fighting to get permission to build a new casino. The Arkansas Racing Commission voted to proceed with the application process, but officials say it was no easy task because several lawsuits threatened to stop licenses from being issued. But after the commission's recent vote, all bets could be back on the table for the remaining companies seeking support.
These companies that want to apply, they want that license, they have to go to Polk County, to the county judge in the quorum court and say, will you support this application? Will you support this project? And if they won't, then, I mean, they could submit an application, but it wouldn't be considered.
Hardin says only one company has a letter of support from the county judge and notes once given approval, it shouldn't take long before licenses are issued. Through the next couple of months, you may notice people out trying to get signatures in order to gain public support for ballot initiatives. Organizers must gain 90,000 signatures before their proposals can be considered for a vote this November. Those include the Arkansas Reproductive Health Care Amendment, the Arkansas Medical Marijuana Amendment of 2024, and the Arkansas Government Transparency Act, just to name a few. If you want a more in-depth look at those proposals, we have that list on THV11.com. Attorney General Tim Griffin is suing the Biden administration in response to new language used in Title IX. It replaces women with people and is a change that clashes with an Arkansas law, one that requires people to abide by their gender assigned at birth when joining sports teams and using restrooms. Well, many are taking to the streets of Palestine to celebrate after hearing word that Hamas agreed to a ceasefire proposal, but those celebrations may not last for long. The agreement comes as Israel launches new airstrike attacks against Hamas, causing destruction to the southern Gaza City. Israel's war cabinet says Hamas is far from meeting their demands and is sending a delegation to Egypt at an attempt to meet on some type of common ground. Concerns are on the rise now that another American is in Russian custody. This time, it's a soldier from Wyoming accused of stealing. Ian Lee reports on what his arrest means for foreign affairs.
Carefully crafted Kremlin choreography shows a man at the height of power. Vladimir Putin's inauguration carried the air of a coronation. The Russian president easily won a fifth term in office with no real rivals. The celebration comes as Russia has put another American behind bars, Staff Sergeant Gordon Black.
Say hi to my mom and dad back home in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Black is stationed in South Korea and was visiting a girlfriend in Russia, a country listed as a do not travel zone for the U.S. military. Authorities arrested him last week on charges of criminal misconduct.
Please do not torture him.
His mother says the girl accused him of stealing $100 from her.
She said he was arrested, let go. He was in a hotel room, and then she didn't know what happened to him. And then all of a sudden he was arrested, I guess.
Black joins a growing list of Americans held in Russia, including retired Marine Paul Whelan and Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. The U.S. officials say the men have been wrongly detained. Black's arrest highlights the tense relations with Washington. The U.S. and many Western countries boycotted Putin's inauguration, which ushered in at least 6 more years of a man who ordered nuclear drills just this week, saying it should cool down hot heads in the West. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Meanwhile, the criminal trial of former President Donald Trump is starting its 3rd week. Jurors got a glimpse at crucial documents which prosecutors claim to prove hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. Trump is also being held in contempt of court for the 2nd time for violating a gag order. The city of Little Rock is keeping driver safety at the top of their concerns and are now working on ways to help reduce the amount of accidents across central Arkansas. The number of fatal crashes in the state have been on the rise in recent years. That's why the city board members voted to take up the Central Arkansas Regional Safety Action Plan. Such action would require federal funding to help back it up, and the request to get that money is already in the works.
It's from lighting, it's signalization, it is bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure improvements, different ways to potentially orient those streets as far as the number of lanes.
The recent board vote will allow the application to move forward, and with it comes a request of $25 million in grants for safety improvements. And something folks can look forward to, a new shopping experience making its way to Little Rock. The brand new Aldi is set to open off Chenal on May 23rd, just a little over 2 weeks away. Shoppers can get an early sneak peek on May 15th, but don't expect the shelves to be fully stocked by then. Putting your fears aside and headed to the doctor is one way to stay on top of your health. Coming up, how one teenager is relaying that message. And it's looking like more trouble for Boeing. Right after this, details on the newest safety concerns sparking immediate response from the FAA.
And here's our view 11 showing a mixture of sunny clouds. We do have a small chance we could see a strong, possibly severe thunderstorm out there this afternoon. A greater chance on your Wednesday. You want to stay weather aware. Let you know everything you need to know coming up.